Okay, let's unpack this. Today, we're plunging into a deep dive at a really fascinating intersection: artificial intelligence and uh, spiritual intelligence.
Hmm.
We've got a stack of source material here,
Yeah.
mostly centered around Deepak Chopra's exploration in Digital Dharma, how AI might elevate spiritual intelligence and well-being.
That's right. And our mission really is to kind of slice through this, pull out the key insights, the practical stuff,
Yeah.
give you a clear path to understanding this viewpoint, how AI, this, super modern tech, is being seen as a potential tool, not just for work, but for your own personal growth, connecting deeper.
It's a blend that really makes you think, doesn't it? Taking something so new like AI and linking it to these, well, ancient ideas about well-being.
Definitely.
So right off the bat, the core idea in the material is, well, it's pretty provocative.
Uh-huh.
It's this notion that AI, okay, it doesn't have consciousness itself, we get that, but it's presented as this powerful ally that could potentially make your thinking sharper, more insightful, and your inner life more aware.
Yeah, it's a big leap viewing AI not just as like a calculator, but something that could help expand your awareness.
Right.
The material argues AI is actually kind of unique among recent tech for this potential for spiritual personal growth. Think of it less like a static thing, a hammer, and more dynamic. It listens, learns, responds to you.
Okay.
And that potential impact on our reality, including, our inner world, that's widely expected.
But let's be honest, when most people hear AI, there's often anxiety, right?
Oh, absolutely.
You see it with things like the Hollywood writers' strike jobs, livelihoods, or just the potential for misuse, like scams online. Those fears are real.
For sure, and the material acknowledges that. It doesn't
Yeah.
shy away, but then it pivots, suggesting another lens, seeing AI as a mirror to the user's consciousness.
A mirror. Okay.
So from that angle, it's not inherently good or bad. Its effect depends on how you engage with it. Maybe instead of just replacing tasks, it could enhance what humans do.
Like the screenplay example.
Exactly. Getting an outline from AI, it assists the writer, helps their process, doesn't just take over. The source seems to say the difference lies in the user's own awareness, their consciousness.
Now, before we get fully into how AI might help this spiritual intelligence thing, the sources kind of step back.
Yeah.
They really dissect the human situation, especially our weird relationship with happiness.
Yeah, they offer a pretty sharp critique of how we usually go about it.
How so?
Well, the material points out that the usual strategy is just trying to ramp up pleasure, dodge pain, chase money, or status. They just don't really deliver lasting happiness.
Right.
Even modern things like positive psychology, while useful, don't seem to get to the root of it all.
It feels like chasing smoke sometimes.
Uh-huh.
The simple truth, as the source puts it, is that happiness day to day is often messy, confusing, frustrating even.
Totally. You can't just follow a recipe, add X, get happiness.
Yeah.
That common thought, oh, I'd be blissfully happy if I only had, whatever it is. The most honest answer is often, I actually don't know what. We seem driven by this constant stream of desires, right? Clinging to the hope they'll finally satisfy us, even when experience shows they usually don't, not for long anyway.
It paints a kind of sad picture, doesn't it? People feeling powerless, maybe losing hope, even with all this amazing tech around new phones, endless shows to stream.
Yeah, more convenience, more distraction than ever, but it doesn't automatically mean deeper well-being. Something's missing. And this leads us right into some core ideas in the material, especially Dharma.
Dharma, okay. How are they framing that?
Well, it's presented not just as religious duty, but more as the path of living your true self.
Your true self.
Yeah, a journey towards being more authentic, more fulfilled. And a key part of that is learning to trust your intuition, that inner compass, to guide you.
And tied into this is that interesting model of our inner world, the two companions.
Exactly. You've got the ego, the familiar I, that's the self-image we build, the part that worries about what others think, avoids fear, chases desires constantly, always wishing, hoping, often denying frustration.
The usual suspect.
Pretty much. And then there's this unnamed second companion. It's described sometimes as expanded awareness or maybe the evolutionary impulse pushing us forward, the it.
Right.
The source suggests the ego often acts like a roadblock on the spiritual path. It reinforces that feeling of being separate, holds on to attachments, desires, fears.
That rings true with a lot of Eastern thought, right?
Yeah.
Where desire itself is seen as a kind of bondage.
Precisely. It creates that cycle. Wanting something, getting it or not, feeling briefly satisfied or frustrated, then wanting something else, it causes suffering.
So are we supposed to just stop wanting things?
Well, no, not exactly. You can't live without any desires. Food, shelter, love, respect, those are fundamental. The crucial point, the source argues, is changing your relationship to desire.
Relationship,
Yeah.
okay.
True fulfillment isn't found in just getting everything the ego wants. It comes from connecting with something deeper, with pure awareness. It means consciously choosing to prioritize your highest aspirations, love, compassion, creativity, over those automatic habitual cravings. And there's this idea that your intention, what you truly focus on, has this hidden power, like ripples in a shared field of consciousness.
So if our inner world has this ego and this deeper impulse, and our outer world is filtered through how we see things, how do we navigate that more consciously? This brings us to worldviews, right? How we actually build the reality we experience. That old saying, the world is as you are.
It's a huge idea. It suggests reality isn't just objectively out there, but it acts like a mirror, reflecting our own internal state, our interpretations.
So my reality is my interpretation.
Constantly shifting, yeah. And your worldview is the stable model you develop to make sense of it all, to avoid feeling overwhelmed by the chaos, the unpredictability.
And these worldviews aren't just passive ideas we hold.
Not at all. They're deeply embedded, and we actively reinforce them. The source uses these powerful historical examples. Think about the immense effort that went into building medieval cathedrals.
Wow.
Or prehistoric burials, those cave paintings. These weren't random hobbies. They were physical manifestations of deeply held beliefs about reality, guiding massive collective action.
So how does that contrast play out today? Materialism versus what?
Versus a consciousness-based perspective, as the material frames it, they operate on totally different assumptions. The materialist view focuses on matter, energy, observable phenomena.
Right. Science, tech.
Exactly. The consciousness-based view starts from a different place. It assumes things like existence is fundamentally supportive, consciousness holds infinite possibilities, life has inherent meaning, we're part of a larger intelligent pattern.
That feels like a very different starting point. It links back to that idea of the true self, doesn't it? Atman, and that inner pull, Swarupa.
Precisely. That innate drive within us to grow, evolve, find out who we really are at the deepest level. And the source mentions the seer, the person who has deep insight into how consciousness works. Their understanding, it suggests, forms the bedrock of spiritual traditions, deeper than just religion. And while cosmic dharma is, vast, the point is you can actively use consciousness every day to live your personal dharma.
Okay, so understanding worldviews and this inner pull sets us up for some practical strategies the sources offer. Let's dig into strategy number 1, embrace change. This sounds fundamental.
It really is. It's framed as this basic choice.
Yeah.
You either embrace change and evolve, or you resist it and, stay kind of stuck.
There's that tension, right? Wanting things to stay the same versus that inner nudge to grow.
Exactly. And resistance, the source suggests, often comes down to fear.
They even asked AI about it, didn't they?
Right.
What it feels like to resist change.
Yeah, and the AI's description was pretty striking. It talked about, clinging tightly to what's familiar when things feel uncertain, apprehension, tension, just this deep reluctance to let go. So the material suggests using an AI quiz they developed about embracing change, almost like a tool for self-reflection, just to see your own patterns more clearly.
Mm-hmm.
And it challenges how we usually view uncertainty. We're often taught to fear it, right? But the source argues uncertainty is actually vital for evolution. It's where creativity comes from.
Like that Rumi quote, surrender to uncertainty, nothing goes wrong.
Exactly. It flips the script. Society often conditions us to fear change, seek conformity. But the source says that's kind of counter to our basic human design, which is geared towards creativity.
So those typical motivators run from pain, fit in. They aren't great for real growth.
Apparently not. They're seen as poor drivers for genuine evolution. And resisting conformity in this view isn't just being stubborn, it's about protecting your individuality, which is core to your dharma.
Interesting.
The source lays out 7 principles to help shift from fear to embracing creative possibilities. A key one is recognizing that your true nature, your core self, is always right here in the present moment. It's not defined by the past or worried about the future.
So awareness is the stable ground.
That's the idea. Awareness provides the non-changing foundation you need to handle life's constant change, like that image of the whole moon reflecting perfectly in the lake. Even if the surface is all choppy, awareness is the stillness beneath the waves.
Okay, building on embracing change. Strategy number 4 is about trusting the process. Dharma, again, is described as this sort of hidden, silent force always guiding us.
And we have this inborn ability to hear that inner voice.
We live in a time of massive distrust, don't we?
Hugely so.
Yeah.
The AI, when asked, apparently listed everything from politicians and media to big companies, even social media, as entities people widely distrust.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
And the material points out this weird double bind we're in. We say we desperately want trust in leaders, institutions, each other, but our actions often fuel more distrust. Think about polarized politics.
Sure.
And this erosion of trust isn't just out there, it deeply affects our relationships and, crucially, our ability to trust ourselves.
So how do you even start to rebuild that?
Well, again, the source suggests an AI quiz. This one focused on your own trust levels, just as a starting point for looking inward.
Okay.
It talks about how stuck memories, those negative past experiences, which AI described as actively shaping our present perceptions, really anchor distrust. They build up our defenses.
And letting go of betrayal, really forgiving. That's hard.
Incredibly hard. Often we just kind of accommodate, put up with things, which isn't the same as real healing, right?
No.
But then the source offers this beautiful contrast, again, using AI to describe what it feels like to be in good hands.
What did it say?
It described this sense of security, surrender, deep peace, a feeling of lightness, like floating or basking in warmth. It really highlights how vital that feeling of safety and trust is if we want to let go of those old burdens and defenses.
So cultivating this inner space, embracing change, trusting the process, it all seems to boil down to self-awareness.
Fundamentally, yes. And the material reminds us self-awareness isn't something you have to build from zero. It's our natural state.
So how do we deepen it?
2 key internal skills. Attention, what you actually notice, and intention, what you decide to do about it.
Attention. That feels like a big challenge today. Short attention spans are everywhere.
Definitely. The source mentions AI describing symptoms that sound a lot like ADD and lists these common habits of paying short attention. Tuning people out, constantly switching tasks, only wanting tiny bites of information.
Sounds familiar.
And this scattered external attention, it often mirrors an internal scattering. If you can't focus outward, it's hard to pay attention inward to your own awareness.
Is that just how we are now?
The material argues it's often a learned behavior. We're encouraged to tune out by, super short TV ads, rapid movie cuts, endless scrolling. But the good news is, if it's learned, it can be unlearned.
Okay, that's hopeful.
The sources briefly touch on the East-West difference here. Maybe Eastern traditions focus more on inner insight, Western more on external revelation historically. But they find common ground, like that idea the kingdom of heaven is within. Ultimately, the vision presented is pretty profound. Seeing yourself as, quote, the entire ocean in a drop.
Wow.
Yeah, captured in that phrase, Jiva is Atman, Atman is Brahman. It's about realizing your individual self, Jiva, is one with the universal self, Atman, which is one with the ultimate reality, Brahman. Recognizing your connection to the very source of creation.
This journey inward towards awareness and wholeness brings us to the idea of wholeness itself as the ultimate healer. That challenges the purely materialistic view of health, right?
Big time. The sources lean heavily on things like the placebo and nocebo effects. They use AI examples to show how consciousness, our beliefs, expectations, clearly plays a huge role in healing. It's not just biology or chemistry.
They also get into the antidepressant debate, using Prozac as an example.
Yeah, they discuss the ongoing debates about how effective they are, especially for milder depression, the side effects, worries about overprescription, pulling in AI summaries of the state of play.
What's the alternative view presented?
Well, the AI apparently suggested other factors involved in depression, things like neurogenesis, brain plasticity, plus psychological and social factors. The conclusion seems to be, it's complex. There's rarely just one cause or one cure.
So combination approaches.
Often, yeah. Maybe meds, therapy, lifestyle changes, all working together. It illustrates that core idea of wholeness. Recognizing many causes, many cures.
Integrating mind and body.
Exactly. Brain chemistry and the whole person, their whole situation. You can't just isolate one part. You have to see the whole system.
And you can apply that beyond just physical health.
Absolutely. The AI comparison of marriages, those with good communication versus those without, is a great example. The cure for a struggling marriage isn't just one tweak. It's about the whole dynamic.
So how do you tap into that wholeness perspective day to day?
The source suggests asking yourself this question in challenging moments. What response is evolutionary for me?
Evolutionary. Okay.
Yeah. It prompts you to pause, Step back from just reacting automatically and access a higher, more aware perspective to find a better, more spontaneous response right here, right now.
Taking that idea, that evolutionary response, and applying it internally, that leads to strategy number 7. Diffuse your negative beliefs. These sound powerful.
Incredibly powerful. Core beliefs act like these distorting mirrors, often really rigid ones, shaping how we see ourselves, how we see the world.
How do you even know what yours are?
While there's another AI quiz mentioned, this one focused on positive core beliefs as a way to maybe uncover your own underlying assumptions, positive or negative.
And negative ones often start early.
Very often, yeah.
Yeah.
The material explains how they get imprinted in childhood, maybe through constant comparisons, not getting enough positive feedback, being labeled, you are lazy, you are difficult, whatever it is.
Ouch.
And those early messages can lead to lifelong patterns, always seeking approval, feeling insecure, easily discouraged, carrying shame.
The source mentions the big 5 damaging beliefs.
Yeah. Low self-worth, catastrophic thinking, expecting the worst, perfectionism, victim mentality, and that all or nothing black and white thinking. It's striking how common they are. Social media comparison, negative news cycles, they can really reinforce these.
So how do you diffuse them? Just argue with the thoughts.
Actually, the source says that often doesn't work well. It can just keep you stuck in your head. The key insight is to focus more on the feelings that the negative thoughts trigger and feed.
Focus on the feeling.
Right. The ego often wants to be right when things feel bad, maybe by blaming someone else. But you have a choice. You can notice the judgmental thought arise and choose not to believe it.
That's the shift from automatic reaction to considered response.
Exactly. Creating that pause, that
Yeah.
moment of awareness, lets you ask for a better, more aligned response from within yourself.
The source also mentioned clarifying your approach. Fix it, put up with it, walk away.
Yeah, it's about emotional consistency, getting clear on your options in a tough situation, using a simple list, maybe even brainstorming with AI to weigh the reasons for each choice fix, tolerate, leave, can bring real clarity and help you make a conscious decision.
And reframing emotions, what's that?
It's called second feeling. You look at an unpleasant emotion, anger, sadness, whatever, and consciously shift your perspective on the situation until the feeling starts to change.
How do you know it's working?
You feel calmer, less tension in your body, less judgmental. And often, clear, constructive action can flow from that new state of being.
What about deeper stuff like trauma?
The material acknowledges that things like emotional neglect, bullying, witnessing violence, feeling like an outsider, these experiences get woven into the ego's story. But it suggests that the simple act of noticing these patterns, bringing awareness to them, is itself a powerful step towards healing.
So even though life might keep mirroring the past,
The path is about intentionally returning to the present. Trusting that connection to your true self, which the source insists is always on your side, and letting wholeness be your resource. The past doesn't have to dictate your now.
okay, bringing this whole deep dive kind of full circle.
Mhm.
The sources touch on those big, sometimes scary, futuristic ideas about AI, surpassing humans, apocalypse scenarios.
Right, those extreme pessimistic views,
Uh,
which contrast sharply with a philosophical debate they mentioned.
Einstein versus Tagore.
Sort of. Is reality purely objective out there regardless of us, like Einstein might suggest? Or is reality, as the poet Tagore put it with his human world, profoundly shaped by our experience, our interpretation?
So is this human universe just poetry, or is there something deeper?
That's the question posed. Is it rooted in a real connection between our awareness and some kind of cosmic consciousness? Tagore's quote about the stream of life running through the universe in S really hits that note.
And they brought in AI discussions on math and music.
Yeah, as examples of this intersection. The mystery of mathematics is it discovered in nature or created by our minds. The cosmic feel of music, those shared structures, the potential link to consciousness itself.
It hints that maybe science and Eastern philosophy aren't opposed.
Exactly. Maybe, as AI analysis might suggest, they're just different lenses looking at the same underlying reality, different ways of knowing.
And the discussion on meaning.
Yeah, that was fascinating. Suggesting meaning might not be something we just make up, but something inherent in the cosmos. And that being tuned in to that inherent meaning is, well, thrilling.
It comes back to letting go of the small story for the big one.
Pretty much. Abandoning the limited, ego-driven personal narrative for the larger story of Dharma, which is rooted in this deep, shared awareness that the source presents as just a basic fact of being human, feeling truly knit into the fabric of creation.
Wow. Okay, that was quite a journey we just took.
Yeah.
We started with AI as this surprising potential tool for inner growth, navigated the whole messiness of chasing happiness, explored the ego versus the true self.
Worldviews shaping reality.
Right, and then got into practical strategies, embracing change, trusting the process, tuning up self-awareness, understanding wholeness.
And tackling those negative beliefs.
Ultimately landing on this perspective that maybe our deepest reality is consciousness.
Yeah.
And these tools, even AI, could just nudge us towards seeing that.
Yeah, the thread running through it all seems to be that it's a journey, right? It can feel uncertain, but that capacity for growth, for deeper awareness, for finding your true self, it's always available, right here, inside you.
So here's maybe a final thought for you to mull over after this deep dive.
Yeah.
If, like the material suggests, the deepest wisdom, the real answers, are ultimately found within consciousness itself, could AI's greatest contribution, its real potential, be less about giving us answers and more about just prompting us, mirroring us, helping us to finally look there ourselves?